Well, all right, welcome back, guys. My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. You can see it's a little shady where I'm at. It's because we got out here bright and early this morning because it's mid-July for this car week, and the only way to escape the heat is to get out early. Of course, we've got our friend Sydney out here on the trail with us. That is my pup. And then today we are going to go ahead and bring out the Chupacapra. This thing it started life as an Axial Capra, and I've slowly replaced every part until it has turned into this. Really looking forward to this one. It's got rear steer. The dig unit has been removed, and I'm not running an interior in it today. It's just easier to get my batteries in and out. It makes it much simpler for out here on the trail. Let's hit the rocks and see what this thing's capable of. All right, guys, we're gonna jump right into some fun and entertaining obstacles. We're gonna do a quick little line along this cliffside here that I'm familiar with, that I know the car should handle. I actually haven't run it over this particular obstacle before, but I think with the rear steer, we're gonna be able to get this car to handle it. The rest of it, we're actually gonna go out and explore some terrain. I was out there with my buddy Trevor the other day. We were out rock crawling. I was in my Capra and he was out scale trailing. And we found some cool formations and a couple that I got real excited about that I just knew that my Capra would be perfect for. So today we're gonna go try those and see how she does. Yep, got that bite we were looking for on that rear. Actually gonna bring the front down a little bit. All right. So you can see there that ledge it's sitting on just kind of tapers off and it gets you real sideways, but being able to move the rear steer across, grab a hold of that ledge, push the car through, that's where the Chupacapra shines. There's real technical terrain like this. So let's see if I can't take advantage of these Vanquish portals on here, using all the clearance we got, and then side shift and crab our way across down into the next drop. So as I had mentioned, this car started life as an Axial Capra, and more specifically, this one was the kit, and it had standard straight rear axle. Now, I converted Axial Capras to rear steer a few times before the Axial Capra four-wheel steer existed, and so I've been a big fan since the drop. I would probably recommend most people to go out and get the rear steer car if they're interested in rear steer. Obviously, if that's not your bag, then you can save some money by not getting one. The standard straight axle rear car is still a super fun buggy, and that's really what I like to do with these RC crawlers. I like to go out and try and run the hardest lines I can find, and the Capra buggies are just really awesome at technical terrain, dodging their way through boulders and rocks, and with their smaller cage and whatnot, it's a lot easier to get them through very tight spaces and through pinches and wedges. That's just what I like to go and find and try to drive through. So right here, this is a really cool line because it just follows along the edge of this cliff. Right here, depending on your rig, it can get very off camber and you can roll into this bush down on the side here very easily. We're ending up bellied pretty good, but just able to squeeze our way through and drag the car out. Sydney dropping by for a quick hello. And then obviously these awesome rock formations with their cool sandstone coloring and whatnot. It's just super wild out here. I love coming out to this area. This is in southern Utah, which is where I am based out of. And we call this area Babylon. So we've got two options here. One of the lines I have never been able to conquer, and then of course that's what we're going to try first. But then we've got our backup where basically you go straight up from where I'm at and you can get out of here. But I like to try and rotate the car a full 90 degrees to the passenger side. And you can see my front driver bumping into that ledge. We're gonna carry that up and across. We're getting a little too aggressive with the rears here. We're gonna tip ourselves over if we continue on that angle. So just slowly working it. Now this car does have a pretty high overdrive percentage. I've got an overdrive front differential with overdrive front portal gears. So that should place us somewhere around the 25% range. And it's just enough to where you can start to see it in action. And that's about the limit of what I like to run in my rigs. It's about 25%. Once I get to 30, it's a little more than I personally like, even in competition. So we're gonna take a reverse. Gonna try and work this rear around, trying to rotate this car Now let's push these rears into the pocket over here. See if we can't. Yep, this is what happens every time. The front end gets real light because it's so steep. And then once that left rear hits, it tries to flip the car over backwards. So just to save some time, because there's lots of cool new obstacles I want to get out and practice on and play on. There we go. Lifting the tire up in the air. So this is somewhere where I would love to use dig. Sydney's showing us her line through there. Okay, now we're gonna get the rear up the wall. And then we got a big overhang on that bottom right corner. Gonna use that rock slider of the Chupacapra cage. Gotta force it through, and it's up and out. Here we are at the top of that last climb. Gonna go ahead and spin the car around. We're actually gonna head up to the top of this little ridge right here. And there is a drop off the backside, so you gotta be careful. Don't wanna, this is a pretty tall, steep spine, so you don't wanna fall off either side. Using the rear steer to keep ourselves centered up top here. And then you can also see that I'm taking advantage of the portal axle clearance. Oh, just touching it there. Dragging the belly through here. This car is utilizing a UC Fab flat skid, and that's also got the Vanquish 3-gear transmission in there. Typically I've got the Hertz dig unit on it, but I was having issues with the teeth. I've actually worn them out, and it's time to get the parts replacement kit for the dig unit. So instead of letting the car sit while I wait on parts, I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna remove it and run it in locked 4-wheel drive for a little bit, because there's certainly nothing wrong with doing that. So right here, I've really got to be careful with where my tires are going. So I'm going to ride this ridge on the front, and I'm actually going to dip that front off, set it down nice and easy, and then I'm going to try and drive this front passenger tire straight down onto this nub in front of it. Trying to stay controlled. You're going to use that rear passenger to hold onto that little lip up there and hold the car up. And then we're going to rotate a little more. Yep, I don't want to drive too far off that ledge. Using the rear steer again to kind of just hold the car on this rock. Right there, it's full sidewall. It is absolutely holding the car up here. So let's bring the front towards me. There she goes. I'm actually going to turn the rears. Nice. This is very steep. It's a really difficult technical climb too. But coming down really steep objects like this can be just as difficult. But the Chupa making it look easy and composed, looking awesome out here on the rocks today. We're going to follow this wall through here in this awesome little canyon. So cool how these formations are always so different, and every spot out here just offers something unique. Sydney's gonna be up at the top spotting us through here. Not a real technical climb, just looks super cool. It's not crazy steep either. You can definitely get your scale rig through here, but obviously we're out here in the Chupacapra today. So the Chupacapra is an aftermarket chassis. It is all billet aluminum, and it is actually CNC milled. So there are no welds on this cage, and they CNC the sides of the cage, and then the center of it is actually just chassis spacers. So if you'll notice, there's no special designs in the tube work going from side to side. Those are just straight spacers, and it's all held together with little 3mm Allen screws. So obviously designed to mimic some kind of moon buggy, something similar to a Jesse Haynes car. This is not a licensed Jesse Haynes chassis, and it's not quite the same. There are some definite differences in the designs of the cages there. However, UC Fab does offer a fully licensed Jesse Haynes chassis on the 1/10 scale, and I certainly hope to get my hands on one day. See if Kyle can work me into a schedule at some point. That would be super awesome. Say hi, Sid. Say hi. Good pup. Good dog. All right guys, we are now on approach and we have to cross these obstacles to get to the main obstacle I wanted to drive on out here today. You might have noticed the wheel and tire setup on this car has changed, and I am currently now running 2.2 inch Spec RC wheels. And then the tires I am running, this is a first on the channel. You guys have never seen me run high racks before, but these are not ordinary high racks. I took 4.75 1.9 inch high racks and I cut them, and then I added a chunk of another 4.75 high racks and I modified them to be a taller tire. Now typically Proline does offer a 2.2 inch Proline high racks. However, they are much wider and they're way too tall for this scale of rig, and I think they look very balloony, and I don't like the scale of them for these cars. So I custom made my own cut and shut method tires to try and gain some performance out here. I think that these stretched Capras deserve just a little taller tire, but you don't want to go too crazy with them. That was a cool line right there. Definitely difficult to get set just right. So. It's gonna take a little work to get into this. Man, if I only had a front dig. Okay, there it goes. And now we are incredibly steep here. And I'm a little concerned that the car is not going to want to go any steeper than this. I mean, I can see the line, I know what it wants. So I wonder if I just ran this like a wall and actually tried to hang the car on this front tire up here. Taking a note out of the MOA book here. Yeah. So you can see, got that front tire just flat on this ledge up here. Call it hanging the car off that tire. Okay, I need to see what I need to do on these rears. They're in trouble big time because they got nowhere to go. That might be it. That might be it. Come on, Chupa. Yeah, yeah. Super cool. Man, did you guys see how steep that was for this car? And we just got it to pull its way up and out of there. And it's a drop off right on the edge up here, so don't want to go too far. That was impressive. That was super cool. I love when these cars can surprise me like that. So I've got these custom 2.2 tires as we were talking about. They are 5.25 inches tall on a 2.2 inch wheel, and I made it to where the bead fits the 2.2s perfectly. And then a lot of people have been asking me what foams that I like to run in a tire that size. So what I've done is I've actually run Crawler Innovations 1.9 foams on 2.2 wheels before. The Pitbull Braven tires are a 5.19, I think, 5.10 something. And I've run 1.9 foams in those before, and I really liked the feel. So what I've done is put 1.9 wheel diameter with a 4.75 height, but I've chosen the medium compound. Now when you open up those Crawler Innovations foams, they are much bigger than 4.75 as just a foam. So even though that's what they're labeled, they will expand larger than that, and they will fill the void of a larger tire, especially one that's slightly bigger than a 4.75. So using the medium compound, it's a little more dense than I would typically run on a 4.75 tire, but because we have the extra room anyway, they still end up nice and soft and pliable. So that's what I'm running. Crawler Innovations 1.9 475 in the medium compound dual stage, and these tires certainly seem to like it. Really cool crack, never run that before. On our way up and out of here. Can't rear steer with the camera that low. There it goes. Super cool obstacle. That one worked out well. Thankfully we made it up that last obstacle so that we could get into that one. All right guys, this is the obstacle of the trail. This is the reason that we're out here this morning. It's super cool, a little bit of an overhang on this bottom left corner, and then it pinches up to a narrow point up here. So we're gonna struggle to get our belly through this crack. And then it opens up into a V crack down the backside. It's about 2 feet tall, it's about 4 feet long, and I'm really curious if I can force a car through it. So that's what we're here to do. And the last car I had in here was much narrower than a Capra, and I was unable to get a hold of that overhang right there. But as you can see, this car just monster trucked through that. It might not be as difficult as the last couple we've seen. It might be more difficult, I don't know. But that's why we're here to find out. Okay, using everything I've got on the front steering to try and correct this. Okay, got a little out of whack on the front tires. Sydney's in my face, giving me a little spot here. Good to see you tube up. When it's this hot out in the summer, I typically don't bring her out, but because we came out early morning, we're not gonna stick around too long. Decided to bring her out and let her run free for a bit. Okay, watch out, dog. I think we've got it to where we can get this front end back in here. Yep, getting it balanced back out. Using the rear steer to just slightly change pressure on things. All right, let's run around front and take a look at this car coming through the other side. Super cool angle. Now, it is possible that I could still ruin this whole line up because I can't see what's going on back there. But for this angle, man, worth it. I can see that those rears are trying to slip into the crack, and we're not gonna let them. Getting a little too sidewalled out on that front tire. A little concerned with that. She broke over. All right, that obstacle was not that bad of a climb. However, this crack could prove to be real difficult with how steep the walls are here. And we've got to get our fronts up this ledge. Can't go too far in either direction though. You got to nail it. All right, we got lucky on the fronts with the first try. Okay, I need to watch the walls. It's washing out on me. Just meaning that wall's curved around, so I need to follow that curve with the fronts. Get a little more aggressive than I might need to be. Also using the rears to climb on the wall where it's curving around to try and take some pressure off and help this front climb a little. Using the servo to break the tension just a little bit. Now the rear is going to be coming up that little crack back there right at the wrong time. Okay, we're getting in trouble. Well, she broke through. And we broke a servo mount. Oh no! We're dead in the water here. And unfortunately, unable to get out of here right now. I don't think we're going to be able to drive this at all today. Not without some steering, for sure. All right, guys, the power of zip ties. I really don't expect this to go well at this point, but took a reset just to see if we can sneak our way through. Now I know the marks I need to hit a little better. Yep, servo already wiggling too much. I think it's gonna get us in trouble in here. Yep. Let's pull her out. I've got the rest of the trail to get out of here on, so let's see how that goes. Well, all of a sudden we've created a new challenge for ourselves, which is limp the Chupacapra out of here and get it back to the truck. We're still gonna follow the original trail I wanted to go down. My servo's sitting sideways in that shot. So there's not much front steering power available. But we've got rear steer, so that helps. This is one section of the canyon I wasn't sure about. Just have to dodge through these bushes. And we've got a V crack up here. It didn't look terrible. Obviously, if it doesn't make it today, I understand why. Nah, I think we should be able to get it out. There we go, working it. Very nice. Cool spot, a little challenging. Ran out of traction for a minute. This front steering is just like rubber right now. I mean, it's as strong as a tiny zip tie is right now. And I've got more to replace it, but it flexes all around anytime there's more tension on it in a certain direction. Okay, this canyon could be tricky, even with steering. I mean, we're starting to get balanced up in here pretty good. Okay, now we're gonna chase that rear around, land it on the far wall, and from here, should be fairly smooth sailing. Following that wall with the rear, starting to come up again. Like, this is why I was excited to come out and run this trail, is there's a bunch of cool obstacles in here. I'm really sad that I broke that servo mount, and I don't have another one with me. Otherwise, I'd be swapping it right now. I've got a housing, and I've got knuckles, but I didn't bring a spare servo mount. Sydney's up there locking it in 4-low to try and get up and out of the canyon. These bushes that grow on the bottom can always hang you up. Here we go. Again, just another game of balance, but a lot more ledges here. And oftentimes that can really mess you up, but in this case it worked out for our wheelbase and width. I was able to use it for traction and push off different walls and obstacles. These high racks are hooking up pretty well out here. I'm not mad at their performance today. Cool. Like, not easy obstacles, and this car's still getting it done with a zip-tied servo. So out here, if you run a trail and you break it open, you get to name it. And I think that it's pretty appropriate if we name this trail Zip Tie, right? You guys will have to let me know what you think the trail's name should be down in the comments below. But I mean, broken servo mount doesn't sound as cool and catchy as Zip Tie, so. Out here for car week, just giving you guys an update on the cars and the builds and the progress. I guess I never really mentioned Savox 1212 servo in the front, Spectrum 6280 in the rear, Hobbywing AXE 2800 kV motor and ESC. I run this car on 3S. I run all my cars on 3S. Most of them run a 1300 milliamp pack. Or I've also got 850 and 750 packs that I use in the Sporty and MOA. Luckily those tires are digging their way down to some traction in here. Making good progress, good time. Got moderate control with the steering right now, actually. It's not hindering me too much. But getting it real jammed up in a pinch is where she struggles. Like that right there, I did not turn left like it went left. That was all the steering servo there. Coming into this canyon, very off-camber setup for this. We're gonna try and rotate, get a good drop in here, but we're gonna see a lot of tension on the steering setups as we come down to the bottom of this canyon. I think I actually need to take a reverse. That's a little too aggressive there. Okay, we're gonna come further up the canyon before we start our rotation and drop in. And then we're not gonna square up to this wall like I was kind of pointing to. I don't know if it's gonna handle this or not, I doubt it. Well, I've got no steering. come on, car. Oh, we got our cage on the rocks. Yeah, our servo's just up in the air. Not worth messing up my cage for. Let's try this one more time. We gotta reset the old servo. Ooh yeah, that was a real jam there. Yeah, she's full-blown toast there, guys. So our day's over with the Chupa. We almost made it out of this trail, but time to head back to the truck. Well, I hope you guys have been enjoying car week. It's been a ton of fun to get out and drive everything I've got. Got a few cars that I actually need to swap parts on to get them out and finish up this series for you before I get everything posted up. But hope you enjoyed the video today. Real unfortunate break. Didn't want that to happen, but that was kind of the main obstacle that I came out here for, and it turned out to be real ugly, kind of like I anticipated. But I definitely think I can get it if the opportunity presents itself. I got a bat that just flew right past me in the middle of the daytime. Must have spooked him off a rock. Okay, guys, we'll see you in the next one. Keep the rubber side down. Sydney sends her regards.